Alright guys, for you today I just came back from Costco and I purchased one of these and I decided why not do an unboxing of this light because I do love flashlights just like I love my knives and my other hobbies, my other gear. This is just a gear. It costs $29.99 from Costco in Los Angeles or in Glendale. So if you're interested in this, then it's $30. It's definitely worth taking a look at least for me, for 30. So we'll go ahead and open this up. Easy enough. So here's the charging cable. Let's see what output this is. So its output is 4.2 at 1.1 amp. So this is a standard, just a single cell unit, I guess. It does have I believe it has a battery indicator thing. So it says on medium, that means that I do have some battery to play with. It has a USB charging, but once again, it doesn't give me any information as far as the milliamps of the battery or anything like that. But this looks really cool. So you could carry it like such, or this could double as a stand. But let's go ahead and turn it on for the first time. Holy crap. So this thing is amazing. But it does say I'm actually low in battery. Yeah, so let's go ahead and charge this up. Yeah, this thing is fantastically bright. Not sure if it's 1,000 lumens, but it is freaking awesome. Let's go ahead and charge it. Alright guys, so I've been testing this light so far for a few hours. I had it at full charge and now I am actually testing the light's capacity with this little meter here that tells me how much milliamps actually went in to this device. Now, I could tell you one thing for sure. This thing has 0 specs. I can't find it anywhere. I've checked other reviews on them. So hopefully my review will be the first review to have everything. As far as specs go, I know this thing doesn't have any specs. So what I've tested so far, one thing on high settings, yes, I believe it produces 1100 lumens for a minute, if that. And then it throttles down to about 700 lumens. And again, this is me talking out of my ass because I don't have a lumens checker. I can't test the lumens. I mean, I could test the capacity, but I can't test the lumens. So I'm guessing, right? It throttles down, and the thing on low setting with this, it also whines. It makes a little whining noise. I'm not sure if I could test that. Maybe I could put it next to my condenser microphone and maybe it might pick it up. Who knows? But on low setting, it does definitely whine. On high setting, I could only get it to stay on high for a minute. This is brand new. It's a few hours old, basically. I just opened up the package. I tested the light real quick. I full charged it in 2 hours with a 1.1 amp charger at 4.2 volts. So if we're already kind of looking at the baseline capacity, it's like 3 amp hours, I say, because it wasn't on completely dead. It was on the third half. It was exactly on the third half, actually. So if it took 2 hours, that means exactly, okay, it charged in 2 hours, roughly 1.1 amp an hour. So this thing's capacity should be at 3.3 amp hours. Now that's 3,300 milliamps. I've only done this one time. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and recharge this and discharge it several times to test the capacity. I will get the average. Let me see if I could show you where I'm at right now. I'm at 276 milliamps. Now I know for sure that the output on this USB is at 1 amp. It's currently transferring 0.88 amps. This unit is capable of taking 2.1 amps. So again, what's throttling this process is the unit itself. So I know the USB output is 5 volts, 1 amp. That's one specification that you could write down, and I'm pretty sure of that. The battery life, I estimated the first run at a low end of 3,300 milliamps. Now it could be more. Most likely will be more, but I doubt it'll be anything above 5 amp hours or 5,000 milliamp capacity. I really doubt it. One thing is, if I could drain this cell phone battery all the way down, this cell phone has a lithium polymer battery at 3,900 milliamps, which is something amazing for a cell phone, especially for how thin it is. But if I could full charge it, get about 3,500 milliamps through it, then this still has some battery left, and I've already disproved my first measurement of the capacity. The biggest disappointment I have is that it does throttle down from the highest setting, and it throttles down quick. I'm not saying you have max setting for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or even an hour. I'm saying you have max lighting for maybe a minute, at most 2 minutes before it throttles itself down, and that was disappointing. Now please leave in the comments if you have this light and you haven't noticed this problem, then I have a defective product. I'm still not going to return it because I think my wife threw away the packaging. But with that being said, the test continues. You are seeing the first set of tests happening right now. I will update you on how this light turns out. So far, it's outperformed pretty much every single light I have, which is a good thing. So as a light goes, this thing is fantastic, but there are drawbacks. Like, the freaking thing is not staying at highest 1100 lumens. I really want to know if it's just my product or if it is the way it's supposed to be, because it would suck if it was just me. But anyways, this light cost anywhere from $48 to $100 anywhere online. I got it at Costco for $29.99. Now, I checked the prices when I got home, and I thought for sure I overpaid $10, $5. I could have got it cheaper online, but I didn't really care because I wanted it right now. And that's the kind of that's the way I am with things. I'll pay the extra $5 to $10 if I could get it right away. So that's what happened with this. And then to my surprise, this thing is fairly expensive compared to the Costco price. So again, if you're looking for one of these and you are too lazy to go out, then spend the $50. It's still going to be worth it. If you aren't too lazy to go out to a Costco, I guess, and pick it up for $30 plus tax, $33. Okay, so back to how I told you that it makes a whining noise on the low setting. So that's the high. That is the low. I'm not sure if you could pick it up, but can you hear that? That is on the low setting. Now, I told you again, it doesn't stay on high. I'm not sure how I could test this out for you, but let's go ahead and put it on high. This is the brightest setting there is. You could already tell how it gets really bright and throttles down, but this is still incredibly bright. Now, if I bring it up even a little bit, it's really going to mess up the... Let's check the light right here. It's still on the highest setting, but it won't stay there long. Bear with me here. Here we go. I did not touch anything at all. I'm not sure if you could see that it did get dimmer, but you could hear the whining noise now. I'm not sure if this microphone could pick that up, but now it's not as bright, and I'll show this to you in just a second. If you look at the light right here, okay, this is on the highest setting, and it's about a minute. Let's go ahead and put it on the low setting. See that? The low setting is still higher than the high setting that went dim. Now the highest setting. Again, super bright. Give it a minute again, and it'll start dimming down. This is a huge disappointment. I don't know why it keeps dimming down, and that's freaking annoying. It could be to save battery. It could be a safety that it doesn't want to overheat itself. But if that's the case, then why when I turn it off and turn it back on high, it goes bright again? It makes no sense to me. If a light is advertised to be high 1100, I expect it to stay on high and not dim down. Alright, so I'm recording with my wife's iPhone here. I usually do this with this phone, but I'm using this as a base. I discharged this to 28%, I believe, and I hooked it up to the meter. And I charged this. This was at full battery, so I charged this all the way. And I did not plug anything, I did not turn it on. I just used it solely as a power bank just to test the capacity. So far it's at the last of its battery according to this indicator. This is how much energy was transferred. My phone is still not fully charged, but it's still going up. But this might not give me a full charge. So that's pretty bad. But also, you got to take into consideration the energy loss from the transfer. This LCD, I know, takes a little bit of power. I mean, nothing that's going to make a big difference. But this is the full-on test. This is going to be the last one. I already kind of calculated the capacity already. This is kind of full-on proof, because I do have that meter right there that tells me exactly how much I'm passing through. And this was higher, the current was higher, but as this battery dies. And the fantastic thing about this is I could just connect directly here without charging, and it'll tell me the voltage of what this battery is at. So that's awesome. I'll know the voltage of this battery once it's done charging. Hopefully it doesn't go anywhere under 3.2 volts or also damage the battery. Alright, so it's done charging. My phone went to 100%. Which means I did a little bit of calculations here. From 28% to 100% would be 2,808 milliamps if the battery capacity on my phone is 3,900 milliamps. It's pretty freaking accurate in my opinion. 2,746 milliamps to 100%. My phone is now at 100%, but the thing is now, this right here is hovering at 3.24 volts. Which is dangerously low. I don't like discharging my batteries under 3.4. So 3.24, and I have no means to charge this right now, so I didn't bring the charging cable for this thing. So I'm going to keep it at 3.2 for the rest of the day, which sucks, but I don't like it getting that low. But it did give my phone a full charge from 28%. I'm neither here or there on this, actually, because the capacity on that kind of sucks. This thing right here says 12,000 milliamps. It does not clock in at 12,000 obviously, but this little battery, this thin little battery right here actually outperforms this thing as far as battery goes. Yeah, so if you compare, this power bank is a much more sufficient battery than this. Now again, I'm pretty sure these are using 18650 cells, whereas this is using a lithium polymer, but this thing has enough battery to charge my phone twice, so this is about 8,000 milliamps. Give or take, and this thing charges at 2.1 amps, whereas this thing charges at 1. It took forever to charge this, actually. It took freaking forever. So that's it, guys. This is pretty much it. I'm gonna come back to the desk and we'll talk about the numbers here, and we'll see how this video. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Again, this thing is at 3.2 volts. I really don't want to use any more of it, but it's at the last of its battery life, and I'm not comfortable with actually using this any further. But let's see if it turns on, and the light still works. Let's see if low turns on, and again, it still makes that hissing noise. I'm not sure if you could hear it. Gosh, I love this camera. But yeah, it still works on high. Let's put it back on low, and then let's turn it off because I know the next time I turn it on it's gonna be on high. So yeah, that's kind of it. 3.23 volts, and it still turns on. It's still kind of functional. I guess in an emergency, that's not a bad function to have to jack up your batteries. But for me, I'm not an emergency, so this is what it is. This is not a good power bank. If you guys are buying this just for the power bank functionality, if that's the selling point, don't do it. It's not worth it. There's cheaper options out there. Just like that key power bank that I showed you, 12,000 milliamps, really has about 8,000 there. That thing charges much better and it has higher capacity. Also, those car starting kits, I have that 1x1 car starting kit. That one's advertised as 10,000 milliamps, but really it has 5,000 milliamp capacity. It still has more than this, and at least that other one could start a car, right? It has that boost chip in there to crank out 13, 14 volts. So that's it, guys. All right, so time to wrap this up. I did put it back. I just went to full charge. Took 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours actually, or 4 hours. It took 4 hours. So again, this is the last test I'll do with capacity, but this will be the most truthful test as far as capacity goes. Let's go ahead and check the voltage on that. So 3.97 volts. This should not realistically be capacity. Should be 4.2. I'm not sure why the charger's not charging it to 4.2 volts. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it back on the charger and see if I could get better results. Here. It says fully charged. Okay, there's nothing I can do about it. Just says it's a green light. It's not. I think it's the board in here itself. So, from what I have tested, by charging the phone, and you guys saw the footage, my first estimate of what this battery capacity is seems to be true. I'm getting just about 3,300 milliamp hours of battery. This was the very first. And that's on the low end. So I'm going to give you the low end numbers because if you're watching this video and you're curious about capacity, you're looking at like the bare minimum. So expect to see just about 3.3 amp hours of power to 4.4 amp hours of power. Now I'm going to give a 1 amp hour. Okay, yeah, I'm going to say 3.7 amp hours. Or we'll add 5 amp hours to that actually. So 3.8 amp hours, okay, plus or minus 500 milliamp hours, because that's kind of what I've tested. I've done it over and over again, and that's kind of where I go to. If this went to full charge, I would expect 4,400 to 5,000 milliamp hours, and that's probably what this battery is rated at. I'm pretty sure there's 650 cells. There's 3 of them in there. You know, at 1,500 amp hours each, would probably give you 4,500. This doesn't actually go full charge. So for the normal consumer user, would I recommend this to them? Hell yeah, it's the brightest. I mean, it's the brightest light for the price, really. But it's a good light. But when you're really nitpicking and you're looking at, you know, the milliamp hours, like this external battery, is it worth charging your phone over? I don't think so. I think just using this as a light would be the best option you have. It is not a good phone charger. So it'll only give you one charge if you have a phone like mine. I don't think that's worth it at all. As a light, I think it's great. I like how it has the stand. I like the little functions on it. The only reason I'm making this video because there's no freaking information on the battery. It matters. I definitely do recommend it if you're looking for a light that's really bright, has a really wide, a really wide focal point, then this is something that you should pick up, right? If you already picked one up, you did a good job. Even if you paid $100 for it, when it becomes a time when you need it, it's gonna be worth that 100. For me, the reason why it's not worth the 100 is because I have so many flashlights that are very usable. So that's kind of where I'm at. All right. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible.